Hello and welcome to another video hosted by yours truly, me.
What are you supposed to be, a disappointment?
Exciting, I know, right? But this is a very interesting topic that I found a couple days ago. I've done some research on it because it is quite a new area. But it's quite interesting, actually, what's happening to the world's oceans and its inhabitants. But before I get into that, let me roll that intro. Okay, so a recent study published in the journal Marine Ecology Progress Series, a highly renowned and referenced and resourced and publishable journal online, have identified coral reefs are shifting geographically. And what this means is that coral reefs are now moving from tropical to subtropical areas due to warming sea temperatures. What they found was an 85% reduction in coral species at tropical regions. On the other hand, they identified a 78% increase in coral species in subtropical areas between 1970 in 2011. What they concluded was that corals seem to be shifting poleward in their journey from tropical to subtropical areas. What this may mean is that global subtropical biodiversity may be impacted for better or worse. Alright, so the oceans are warming, but how warm are they getting? And we know that the oceans are warming because the ocean is the single largest sink for heat. It is responsible for stabilizing the Earth's climate system because it is able to drag in heat and release it over time, meaning that the climate cycle stays relatively stable. However, greenhouse gases are causing a lot of the heat that would be ejected into the atmosphere to maintain itself in the Earth's, atmosphere. Kind of like a blanket, it just kind of stays there. What this means is that the ocean is taking up an excess amount of heat, to be exact, 90% of heat. And you can see this trend rising as this heat has nowhere to escape to, so therefore the sea surface temperature has to inevitably increase. Now, with this excess heat being stored in the upper limits of the ocean, it's safe to say that with the heat increasing faster than adaptation can adapt, then it means that a lot of the ocean inhabitants are going to have to change or relocate somewhere else. And this is not just being seen with the new study found on coral species moving from equatorial to subtropical areas. It's been seen in Uruguay jellyfish. So Uruguay jellyfish in Australia are typically found in the northern parts, way up the top. But as of recent, we've seen Uruguays moving further south, closer to the Gold Coast. Put a map here for reference, they're typically up the top here, and Gold Coast somewhere around here, around that region. So it's quite a long distance and quite a drastic change, since the water from the coast and the water up north are totally different temperatures. Now, this is all just theory based, okay? This isn't really set in stone, I guess you could say. They could just be annually moving, maybe, who knows. But it's safe to say that climate may be having or human-induced climate may be having a big effect on it. Bluefin tuna, as well as many other commercially popular fish, are moving northward according to a lot of the global catch rates from fisheries. Populations of tuna are a great indicator of climate change, as tuna distributions are typically influenced by the water's temperatures. This graph here indicates the percentage of longline catches of bluefin tuna. And you can see that a lot of the catches are moving northward, or a lot of the catches are being found northward through time. Now this is still currently a theory, but sharks, okay? Sharks prefer, or many sharks prefer, cooler waters. With sea surface temperatures increasing by 0.19 degrees Celsius every decade, you are most likely going to see more shark species relocating to cooler areas over time, meaning that a shark species that you may not see common in one area may thrive. So you're going to see a lot of biodiversity change over time if sea surface temperature continues to increase. This is only 3 species, okay? There are millions of animals out there in the water that will be affected by this sea surface temperature, and reflection of the coral going from equatorial to subtropical is a great indicator that things are about to change in the ocean. Okay, so we know that the corals are moving. Yeah, they're going from tropical, equatorial to subtropical over time, right? But how do they do this? Well, when the corals spawn, they'll release a lot of the larvae, in sperm, they'll copulate. So with this, that larvae is going to drift along the current and swim. I guess it's better to say they'll drift rather than swim. They'll kind of just follow that current. And they'll also have these fat stores, okay? So when they're born with baby fat, I guess you could call it. And that fat storage is what they'll eat to survive until they find a place to settle. And what I mean by settle is they'll find like a rock, or they'll find some hard surface to settle on. Now, it's not entirely understood how easily these corals are moving to subtropical areas, or how quickly it's going to be occurring, or how they will survive over time. But it is known that 78% of tropical species are now being found in subtropical areas, with 85% reduction in tropical climates. Now, I've said this multiple times throughout the video, but although this is rather new science, it's becoming increasingly obvious that a lot of the biodiversity and chemistry of the ocean is changing over time. That is a fact. You can't refute that fact because the evidence is out there and it's staring you in the face. Furthermore, you can just go out there and have a look for yourself. Over time, I doubt you'll do it, but over time, check out the areas that you frequently go to. If you're near the water or whatnot down near the ocean, you can frequently check the areas, snorkel every now and again, and see through time that these areas are going to change. If we don't mitigate or change our way of life, then we are going to see a shift into a new world. I don't mean some dystopia or utopia, whatever it is. I don't mean an idealistic world. It might be. I don't know, actually. Who knows? But what I do know is we are going to see a drastic change in the environment. And we will see new species that didn't used to be in one area shift over to a new area that we didn't think was possible for them to exist. And they will thrive. Maybe. Possibly. Who knows? Future's open to many possibilities. And that is that. I hope you enjoyed that video as much as I enjoyed making it. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands, but I'm doing something. that was actually quite an interesting topic. You know, new science is always a great place to dive into because, you know, you learn some new things, some things that haven't really been discussed. You know, you're just seeing it for the first time because it's brand new. But yeah, that was quite an interesting topic to say the least. Species are moving, distributions are changing, biodiversity is shifting, corals don't like tropical areas anymore because they probably don't get enough sustenance. Who knows? But hope you like that video as I did making it. Please leave a like, comment and subscribe to the channel because it truly helps me out a bunch. Let's try and get to 100 subs, baby. Let's also educate and don't eradicate our animals in the ocean because we need them to survive. And check out last week's video. Also subscribe. Also subscribe again. Tell your friends, your family. See ya.